Oh, we are live and direct this afternoon with the Pittsburgh band Colatura and a room full of WYEP members. And it is a perfect day for some dreamy shoegaze songs and, clouds, because it's Pittsburgh. It all works together. We're going to catch up with the band in just a few minutes, but we have to start with the song. So please welcome Colatura. See, I told you that was going to be good. We are live and direct this afternoon with the Pittsburgh/Brooklyn band Colatura, who are working on some new music this year. Also want to let you know about a show happening at Haven on May 2nd. But Jenica, you told me last summer when we featured you as Pittsburgh Artist of the Week that you grew up in a very musical household. And your folks are both opera singers, and your grandmother is a piano teacher, and you didn't know that any music besides classical music even existed until you were about 10 years old. So to the untrained ear, I think the music that you make now is obviously vastly different, but Are there lessons or tricks from the classical world that you can put into your music now?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so my parents are both opera singers, and I didn't discover any music other than classical, until, about 10. A friend at school taught me who the Beatles were, and then my dad actually had never heard the Beatles before until I played them. I know, it's insane. I'm like, sometimes I wonder if he's lying, but I actually think he is true. He was like a Juilliard tenor at the Met, very snobby. I think he's listening right now, so.
Hi, Dad.
So sorry, Dad, for blowing up your spot. But yes, I mean, my parents are really lovely and very supportive, and they don't entirely understand the music that I play, but they are supportive anyway. My dad actually said a really funny thing the first time he came to come see us. He was like walking around the room trying to figure out what the best acoustics were, because he's like used to the Metropolitan Opera where it's like designed for that. And we were playing like a small club in Lower Manhattan. And he like wandered around, and finally at the end of the show, he was like, I think I understand. You're not supposed to hear the music, you're supposed to feel it.
That's completely reasonable.
Which is actually really, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of on point.
But it was funny watching him, like, literally while we were playing, it was a basement, and he was just walking around the whole basement. I'm like, what is he doing?
It's a little nerve-wracking watching him be like, what is he doing? I don't just like he's... but yeah, I mean, I think music, no matter what genre it is sort of like all about the feeling regardless. And so growing up, listening to opera, I couldn't really understand what the words were anyway. It was most of them are in a different language. And so just like getting to experience sort of how it makes you feel. I remember like watching my parents and sitting there and like hearing it. So I think there's like a universality to a lot of music. And so
I bet if nothing else, like Happy Birthday at your house growing up was probably incredible.
It's insane. The levels of like multiple harmonies, because also my mom's friends are all singers as well. So like Happy Birthday is like 7-part harmony, unless they feel like being weird, and then it's like weird dissonant chords just to be funny. It's
intimidating, honestly, when I was first there, and they're like, are we going to sing Happy Birthday? And just the energy in the room, everyone started looking. I'm like, what's about to happen? It gets really competitive.
Yeah, I bet. Well, I read in an interview from a couple of years ago that you got the idea for the name of your band while working in a restaurant. And it comes from an ingredient that you'd often use. I'm probably going to say this wrong, but Colatura di alici? Yeah, so it's basically like Italian fish sauce, right? Like anchovy juice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it.
So my initial thought when I first heard your name was that it was like a play on the soprano vocal range, like a coloratura soprano, which, if you don't know, is a very high soprano. But maybe this is all for the best, because I feel like your music can live in multiple different worlds as well. Like it can be dreamy and bright, but also dark and somber. So can you talk about how you use the art of juxtaposition in your music?
Yeah, I mean, that you are totally on. Part of the reason why we picked the word is because it kind of had this sort of nod to my classical beginning. We liked that it was sort of like acknowledging that it's there, but kind of taking our own spin on it. I will say, just a quick aside, this wasn't the question, but we decided to use the ingredient because the chef used it a lot in our restaurant, and we thought it was also a fun nod to how we met. A side effect that we didn't anticipate is that we get tagged in all these Italian cooking videos because our Instagram handle is @Colatura, and people just assume that that's like, people who don't know the band assume that that's like the official Colatura anchovy oil Instagram. So we have like a small but dedicated group of Italian listeners on Spotify that are like probably don't understand.
Yeah, a lot of chef's kisses going on there, I'm sure.
But yeah, I mean, we try to in terms of like juxtaposition, we have an EP coming out this summer, and we tried specifically in that to play a lot with contrasting really quiet sort of moments with heavy moments, and then like lighter lyrics with heavier instrumentals, and then like kind of more dreamy, lighter, happier stuff with like sad lyrics. And so we love playing around with that a lot. I mean, our last album had a lot of songs that like, if you don't listen to the lyrics, sound like really happy, cheerful songs. And then if you listen to the lyrics, you think that we're about to get divorced or like.
A lot of times when it first came out, people are like, "Are you guys okay?"
Which is actually kind of nice because it's like 2 albums or even 3 in one, like depending on our mood, what we can pick up from it, which I think is really special. So I know you guys have some new music coming out. You just played a song for us that is brand new, but I do want to talk about an older one a little bit. When I mentioned earlier, you introduced yourself at the Summer Music Festival last year, and I went and I listened to the song Suffer Dude, which is really, really good, and I love the meaning behind that song. Can you talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty much just about being afraid. I mean, it's about a few different things, but it's about being afraid of being judged, and being sort of scared to put yourself out there because you're afraid of what people will think. As a musician, it's really hard. There's constantly this voice in my head being like, oh, are people gonna like that? Or like, is that too cringy? Or just like overly worried about what people think. And it can make it so that sometimes you don't want to put stuff out there because like the number of things that I'll like take photos and then I'm like, I don't know, someone's going to think that's too cringy, I shouldn't post it, or something, just like a lot of self-editing. And then it can also be easy to sort of fall into this trap of being like, oh, well, I'm not going to try, or like, I don't even care if people don't like it. Like, I'm not going to put myself out there. And it's something that I try really hard not to let that voice take over. So I wrote a song about it.
Well, I think we should take a listen to it. We are live and direct this afternoon with the Pittsburgh band Colatura.
I don't really want
You were so good, why am I not better? You were so good. You were so good, why am I not better? 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 Why am I not better?
It's Colatura, live and direct and loud here at WIEP this afternoon. Now, this is a band that formed in Brooklyn, but at least 50% of the group is living here in Pittsburgh. So I'm curious about how that works for you and why it makes sense for you to split time between cities. Because like I'll always preach about the great music scene here, but at the same time, Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh and New York is something, completely different. So what brought you here?
Well, I love New York. It's my home. I grew up there, so it's always going to be a place, and my mom still lives there, so it's always going to be a place that I go back, and I go back a fair amount, especially because our rhythm section still lives there, though we're working on trying to get them to move here. They're really good sports about coming out here when we want to play shows and stuff. We actually decided to move to Pittsburgh because we came through on tour a couple years ago, and we're supposed to play a show here, and it ended up getting canceled because the headlining band got COVID, and that was we couldn't get it together to get other bands in time, so we just had the day off. It was actually Alex, our drummer's birthday, and we ended up getting really good pizza at Driftwood and wandering around. We wandered around the cemetery, and we ended up hitting up the band Feeble Little Horse, who's Pittsburgh based, who we love, and we were like, we have a day off in Pittsburgh unexpectedly. Are there any cool shows we should hit up? And they sent us info for a DIY show, and I don't remember the venue, and I think it's closed. But we saw the coolest basement DIY show and just were like, wow, this the music scenes here is so cool. And everyone was so nice, and it was just really cool. So Diego and I ended up losing our apartment last year, and we're trying to figure out, we're both audio engineers, and we had been working out of one studio, and we needed a little more space because it's really hard to work 2 full-time jobs out of one room. And we just weren't going to be able to find the space that we needed in New York. So we were thinking about alternatives, and Pittsburgh just seemed like a city where we'd be happy, that had a cool music scene that we could hopefully fit in. So we moved here, and haven't convinced the rest of the band yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah, I mean, you got the rest of the afternoon. I'm sure there's some Pittsburghers out here that can do some convincing. Now, when you say Diego and I working together, he's more than just the other guitar player in the band. You guys are a married couple, and I am always fascinated by couple bands because the closest way that I can relate to it is I grew up in a family business. So that constant surrounding of this is family, but it's also work, which can be really awesome, but it can also be very, very difficult. So how do you keep those situations separate, or can you?
It's really hard. I think we do a very good job of it, but it's definitely, honestly, I would say we end up defaulting more to work it, because we also have the business together, we have the band together, and we're married. And I would say the thing that usually happens is we have to tell ourselves, okay, we have to stop talking about music at a certain point, because otherwise we are not going to make time for our relationship. It's just going to be work all the time. And but I don't know. We do really well. We collaborate really well. We write together. I mean, a lot of times we'll sort of like start songs separately and then pass them to the other person to sort of like work on. But we are really lucky that we've figured out a good way of collaborating. I will say it's, I mean, I can't speak for the rest of the band, but I will speak for the rest of the band in that I think it's, sometimes it can be tricky being in a band with us because we show up clearly having like discussed things already, and so like as a band we're like, okay, well we're coming in with our idea and we're already like on the same page about something, and
automatically two against however many.
yeah. And so
We try and pose it like it's a fresh idea and just hoping that they're going to agree with the conclusion we've already come to. And when they don't, that it can be a little awkward, but a lot of times we all come to the same.
I mean, if it was the right decision in the first place, like it makes sense for them to get along with it, right?
Yeah, totally.
Of course.
But we write really sad songs about relationships, and
Yes.
we I think we end up having a good marriage because we just get it all out in the music.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because the latest song that we've heard released from you is so good. It's called "Do You Miss Her?" And when I listen to that song, I think like this is a song about someone who you were dating, or who was dating someone else when you met, and then it's like, oh, when are they going to do that to me? So, was that him?
No, it was not.
Okay. Because it feels very vulnerable, you know?
Yeah, it is. It's weird. I don't know. Maybe he can answer if it's weird. I write a lot of songs about my exes. I don't know. Is that weird for you?
No, not at all. Because to me, I feel like as a producer, because I produce a lot of bands too, like to me, I'm always trying to get to the emotional crux of an artist. So anytime it like comes from like a relationship or anything that's past that feels like there's something we can dig into there, I'm like excited. I'm like, Jenica, tell me more about this dysfunctional relationship you were in before me. Let's really milk it, you know?
Yeah. So it's about an ex, and we don't talk anymore. So I doubt he's listening. So.
I mean, you could always go the Fleetwood Mac route and just, you know, do a bunch of coke and make your husband sing and play songs about what a lousy person he is, right? Like, it's all possible. So, but I'm glad to hear that you guys are doing it, you know, in a healthy and safe way. So, would you like to play that song for us?
Yeah, we'd love to.
It's Colatura, live and direct here at WYEP. That is music from Colatura here on WYEP, a band that lives in Pittsburgh and also Brooklyn. That song called Do You Miss Her? They've also got some new music coming out later this year. We're very excited for that. Is there a release date yet?
The first single is coming out April 9th.
Okay, so something to look forward to, plus a show in Brooklyn in April and a show here in Pittsburgh May 2nd at Haven. So thank you all so much for coming in. This has been so good.
Thank you so much.